Hey guys, how's it going? Author Daniel Coolbaugh here. I just wanted to do a quick video because I was thinking about it the other day when I did a couple things that I put on my author channel here, my new author channel, and I want to talk today about Kevin Hearne's Druid Chronicles, and I absolutely love this series. So these are some of my favorites. So Hounded was book one, absolutely loved it, and it was super cool because I actually had Kevin sign them when I met him. I think I just had the last one that he had not signed. So I have to get that one signed by him at some point. But absolutely loved Hounded. And then I haven't reread him in a while. I actually, because like now he signed them, so it's like I don't want to do that. But in terms of the books, I also actually really like. I'll probably have to get them all on Kindle eventually, but I really love the Audible version too. The narrators that he has are really good. And then Hexed was another one that I absolutely loved. And then Hammered. These three books in particular really got me into the series. It was cool because I was living in Phoenix, Arizona at the time. Met my wife. We went to Rula Bula, which is a restaurant that the main character Atticus really enjoyed. I got the fish and chips just like he enjoyed. We went to a bunch of just places that Kevin wrote about because he used to live like in Tempe, and that's where I think he used to live in Scottsdale. Actually, sorry, and it's where Atticus actually lived, was Tempe, Arizona, in a bunch of the books. And it was just super cool to have just moved there. My friend Tyler, thank you Tyler, recommended Hounded years ago, and I actually remember the day he recommended it to me and showed me the cover. So when I was moving to Arizona, I was like, oh, this, I want to try something new. And I don't know, I had just gotten out of some Forgotten Realms books with druids and things, and a couple other fantasy books, and I don't know, I saw that one at the store by Barnes and Noble or something like that. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to try it. Like, why not? It's not a very thick book. And that opened my world up to urban fantasy, really. And it really made a really huge impact for me because I loved Atticus's character. He is Irish, he's Celtic, and I don't want to give too much away, but it's really cool because, like, for me, like, my family and my mom's side is like 45% Irish. So my wife's side, I believe, is like 25 to 35% Irish. So my son, he's pretty Irish, right? But it's really cool because for me, it was like interesting to, read not just Irish and Celtic mythology and things like that within the book and series, but he does, like, Kevin does an amazing job bringing in, it's hard because I don't want to give things away, bringing in other mythologies. One of the coolest things he does is in the series, and I love this. And I actually got, when I met him in person at the Poison Pen right before I moved from Arizona to here to Central New York, I got to tell him this. I said the idea was so cool that, like, there's multiple Jesuses, and depending on how much people believe in whichever ones, that's how much power they hold. And that's the same for, like, the Fae. There's Thor, isn't like the actual god. There's multiple Thors actually, but then there's also like the Marvel comics or God and things like that, because these came out right around that same time as like the movie and stuff. So it's cool. Like, you get a bunch of varying versions of every a mythological, like, creature or being or god or goddess. So to me, that was like super cool, and it plays a huge impact in the book series. And it was cool that, like, he picked different people, different mythologies. He obviously, like, Atticus is Irish, so the Fae have, and the court and those kind of things have a huge part to play here. But it was just really cool to see, like, a myriad of different mythologies. As a history teacher, I, like, knew about but didn't really know in depth about. So I looked up a bunch of, like, the gods and monsters and things like that, some of their heroes, like some of the magic items, all sorts of stuff. And it was just absolutely cool. So if you're really into history, that kind of thing, or, mythology, urban legends, those kinds of things, I would highly recommend this series. The other thing is the magic system was absolutely incredible. He had one of the most unique magic systems I've ever seen, particularly at that time. I've seen a lot more now, but I still really love, like, this is still Atticus, and the Druid magic system in this is still, like, my favorite, I would say. Harry's great and everything. I'll talk about that in another series. I love the Dresden Files, not necessarily because of Harry's magic, but because of other things I'll talk about in my other video. So definitely check out my Dresden Files video and why I, enjoy those so much. But for this series, like, it was really like my favorite type of magic system and how Kevin went about it. And I got to talk to him a little bit in person about it. And it was just really cool to get to ask him questions in depth about it. And really, like, this series, my other thing, I would say, my third thing is really like this series really helped me to get more into. I started reading like the Dresden Files. I started reading Patricia Briggs. I started reading a bunch of urban fantasy, and this series and Kevin though really got me, into writing urban fantasy. So my Monster Hunter Nathaniel Withers series, like really like my entire Elsewhere universe would not have come about if I had not read these books in this series. So it's really near and dear to my heart. They are older now, look, so it is a little bit difficult, I think, for some people that I've talked to. And I always like to forewarn them, like there's like a bunch of pop culture references and stuff that were really relevant at those times. And now maybe not so much. So I think sometimes that throws people off a little bit from some of my friends who have read the series. They still really love the series. But, it's just something I think to be aware of. Before you go in, because it's like if you watch the TV show Psych on USA, this happened around the same time when this was published. So this was published 2011 was book one. And I still love watching, the series and stuff, but I've had people that have never seen it and didn't watch it at the time in which it was on air. So then they go back and watch it and they really enjoy the story, the characters, Sean and Gus and things, but they don't really necessarily always know all of the jokes. And even now, like this is like 15, 16 years removed from that show. And I still sometimes like, wait, what are they saying? So I have to go back and look. But if you don't mind, those kind of things, I love Atticus. I love the other characters. I was so surprised at the other characters that come into the story, because you really get like the first few, you get like really like Atticus's perspective, and then later on he adds some POVs, and just super cool. I loved everybody that he talked about, everybody that he wrote about. They're really like, it's really like, I would say, one of my top 3 urban fantasy series, and for me, it's like. This one, like Druid Chronicles, Dresden Files, and Patricia Briggs, like, so I guess it's 4 series technically, by 3 authors. Patricia Briggs, like Mercy Thompson, Alpha and Omega, like they're all pretty even for me, I would say. And I love, different things about them. But I was doing this video the other day and I thought I have to start at least like going back, and if I'm not rereading, I'm at least going to have to go back and listen to the first few on Audible. There are some that I will never get rid of physically. These are the ones that I wouldn't, can't wait to get like the special editions of, things like that. Like if he ever, goes on Kickstarter, he had some that were published recently, and they were pretty cool covers and stuff, but it was not exactly like these. But if he ever had something that was more like these with like really incredible art, better than these ones, I would definitely have to do the special editions. So yeah, definitely check out Druid Chronicles. Books are absolutely amazing. They're actually really quick reads, particularly when you get into them. A lot of my friends finish within, a couple weeks at the most. So definitely recommend Druid Chronicles by Kevin Hearne. And like I said, I met Kevin. He was absolutely incredible. I taught English at the time, and I told him, that I was teaching English, and him and his wife actually gave me like a $100 gift card that they like brought a bunch of used book to Bookman's, great bookstore, by the way, if you're ever in Glendale, Arizona. And they just like gave it to me. They're like, yeah, we always bring our extra books down and do whatever. And they gave it to me. I used the gift card to buy a ton of used books for my students before I left. So I always love supporting Kevin. He's always super cool. I messaged him a few times when I first started writing and researching how to write urban fantasy, because he usually wrote fantasy before this, and he was always super nice, super helpful. Actually, I tried to get him to write our foreword, and he was super cool. Said, I can't, I'm too busy. But per usual, he was just very graceful and just a super nice guy. So anytime I could support somebody like that who supports indie and traditional authors and is just a good person, I always like to do that. So please, guys, do me a favor, at least check out Hounded, right? And then if you do, let me know how much you liked it, right? Hope you guys have a great rest of the day, and as always, happy reading, my friends. See you guys.